Hello, everyone, and welcome. It's Friday night. It is night number 5 for my January to June mini catalog and celebration kickoff. So hopefully you're getting the notification that I'm live and you can join me tonight. It is the last night for the catalog kickoff, but it's the first night for Connie's craft along. In the fall, I had mentioned that I would, be changing up some of the things that I was doing, and so there's a couple things that I'm not doing anymore. Tips and tricks is one in particular that comes to mind, but there's lots of tips and tricks in some of the other things that we do, and there's always tips and tricks on an ongoing basis that I share with you. I always want to make sure everybody knows how to make their crafting easier and more enjoyable. So always sharing little tips and tricks. So that's not a designated night anymore, but there's a number of new things that I have added. And tonight is the first night for Connie's craft along. So welcome, and I hope you've got some crafting supplies ready. If you are joining me and want to do some crafting, I did post a picture earlier of the items that you needed. I should grab my template. I think I have everything ready, except I don't have that here. Let me grab that paper. Okay, so we can go over that if need be. But if you are joining me, if you're here watching, I'm going to say hello, leave a comment, and look at that. Here we go. Hi, Lorna. Hi, Mary. Welcome to Friday night in the craft studio. Terry. Hi, Terry. And Jen. Look, everybody's coming in. This is so awesome. This is the last night. So hopefully we have a few people join us, as we already have, and maybe some more are coming. And I hope you're ready to do some crafting tonight. So the Connie's Craft Along is going to be a regular Friday evening feature on my Facebook page, and it will be similar in some ways to a mystery stamping in that I will let you know in advance, what to cut, what to prep, size of cardstock, size of designer series paper, that sort of thing. But you won't know what you're making. And so it's a great opportunity to go into your stash and pull out some of your favorite papers or your favorite color, try something a little bit different, maybe pull out some things that you haven't used before or haven't used often. Hi, Jenny, welcome. Anyway, that's what you'll do. You go into your stash, you get your stuff ready, and then when we get together, I will give you the steps for the crafting, sort of similar to our mystery stamping, but I will actually craft along with you. So if you're kind of wondering what to do next, you could look at what I'm doing, and that could give you a hint or a clue. But of course, I'm just doing one way. There's always lots of ways to do things. So you don't have to do what I'm doing, but if you want to see what I'm up to, you can do that. So we'll see how it goes. Tonight's the first night, so you can let me know what you think when we're done. Okay, so I am going to flip this down and we will get started. So I have just a few more things that I wanted to share with you from the catalog. We've been through quite a bit of it over the course of the week. Obviously, we have not looked at everything that's in here. There are still some other things that hopefully you'll have a chance to look at when you have the paper catalog. I don't know whether any of you have received it or not yet. Hopefully they went out. It was after Christmas, and I know the post office didn't work for a few days, but they should have arrived by now. But anyway, hopefully you have it, or you get it very, very soon, and you can look at the paper copy. All the new products are, of course, online, so you can see them there. But if you're anything like me, there's nothing quite like paper. So this set that we have here is something that is brand new for Stampin' Up! With this catalog. There are dies here that create slimline cards. So slimline cards are the longer, narrower ones that would fit in a standard number 10 envelope. And they became quite popular through 2021. So Stampin' Up! Has created some dies and some sentiments, and over on this page, some images and additional sentiments that are specifically designed to coordinate with the sizing of slimline cards. So that's something new. They also have some envelopes. These are fancy envelopes printed inside in two colors, soft succulent and smoky slate, and also white, which is another color, but it's not a color. They don't have just, regular plain white envelopes at this point. That might be something that they come out with if these slim lines remain popular and if these sell well, but that's to be seen. But if you are making slimline cards, just a regular number 10 envelope will fit them perfectly. So there you go. Lorna, you're still waiting for your catalog. Well, hopefully it's not lost in the snow and hopefully you get it soon. I will continue to check periodically because they have all been sent. So hopefully they get there. Anyway, flipping over page 67, just an itty bitty little peek here of some glimmer paper. It's called Supple Shimmer 12 by 12 specialty paper. There's two sheets. You get one sheet of the pink and one sheet of the blue. And we did get a message from Stampin' Up! That the blue here shows darker in the photo than what it really is. I believe it is a paler blue, a lighter blue. So just so you're aware, I have ordered some. I don't have any yet, or I could show you the real piece, but you will see it in the future. And be fun for these rainbows and all sorts of things. Thought I would point that out. And then the other thing that I just wanted to touch on quickly on page 75, we've got the Encore page. So there is a list here of some products from the fall mini catalog that are carrying over and are going to be available throughout the next ordering period. They are not obviously in any catalog other than being listed here, but they are still available. So there are, some punches and some stamp sets. The Nature's Harvest stamp set and dies, that was a beautiful bundle that was available last fall, and it is still available. Probably the one that you may order most frequently would be the brushed metallic adhesive back dots. Look at that, gems, and they don't show up all that well there. I'm just going to grab a pack since oh yeah, perhaps I had some that came in my order today because, as you know, I have this thing for gems. So there we go. I'll pull them out of here so they don't shine too much. Can you see those a little bit better? So there are three colors. There is a gold and a bronze, and I'm not actually sure what this is called. Some sort of metal, I guess. But it's got a green tone to it. So these are lovely. They are brushed, so they're shiny, but not shiny. Does that make any kind of sense? Like a brushed metal, just like the name says, brushed metallic. Okay, never mind. Anyway, they are lovely and they are still available. So if you didn't get any of those from the fall catalog, or if you got some but you're running low, rest assured you can still get those. And all of the order numbers are in the mini catalog on that Encore page, but you can also just look them up online. So Okay, so that's it for the catalog. As I said, we didn't look at everything this week, so feel free to you know, make yourself a nice cup of tea or something when you do get the catalog, and plan a little sit down to go through and look at it and enjoy it. So, some things that I owe people. I just realized that Donna's not here. Donna's been here every night this week. Where's Donna? I have a card for Donna, something I promised her. But here's something that I promised everybody. You may recall this card from, I think it was from Tuesday night, from our sketch night, where we couldn't decide whether to use just the stamped image or the stamped and colored image. So I ended up using the stamped image, but I did promise you that I would finish the card with the colored image. So here is that one. So both of them. And you know what? We couldn't make a bad decision that night because they are both lovely. So there they are. And they're quite pale on the camera, I think, but hopefully I can capture a little bit more of how lovely they are in real life when I post them on my blog. So, but there's the second card that I owed you. So, and I just put one butterfly on this with all the color and everything here. There just seemed to be a little bit more going on. So I decided not to put these extra butterflies on and just went with one down in the bottom here. So there are those. And then last night, oh my word, last night. What a crazy night. For anyone that was not here last night, my tablet just kind of shut down. And so then I wasn't sure. So I lost I lost my Facebook, so I couldn't tell whether everybody was still with me or whether I was talking to myself. And then Mary called me and said, yes, we can still see you, we can still hear you. But then my camera flipped sideways and I couldn't change it. And it was, it was one of those technology nightmare nights. But I was working on some designer series paper, make my own designer series paper using, what was I using? I was using the Friendly Hello stamp set. So this is the stamp set that I featured last night along with the designer series paper, but we were making our own designer series paper and I promised some cards with that. So here is the first one that I made, and you can see here that I have pretty much just made a card of designer series paper. I'm just showing it off, just a small sentiment here. The hope you have the best birthday. And this is punched with the larger scallop punch from the double oval punch. And then it's mounted on the rectangular postage stamp punch. And these, of course, are, oh, you guessed it, iridescent rhinestones. I have them everywhere. They're everywhere. They're everywhere. So that was the first card that I made. And here is the second one. So for this one, I used the bird stamp from the Friendly Hello stamp set, along with the Hello Friend sentiment mounted. This one covers up more of the designer series paper, but that's okay. So we have the lovely bird on there. I decided to leave him just as a line image because there was a lot going on in the background. So, and once again, yes, look, some sparkle brought to you by the iridescent rhinestone basic jewels. Ta-da! Do you think maybe I like those? I like all the new embellishments. I like all embellishments because I like the gems. Yes, all about the gems. And Donna, hopefully you can catch this on the replay. Donna had ordered the picture this dies and commented that she really liked them. She was hoping to play with them in the near future. So I promised her that I would make a card using one of them. So I chose the circles. So this is the circle die, and I had done, I think it was one of my That's Fancy nights where we had used strips of paper and then cut it out with these dies. And that was when she had made that comment. So that is one of the dies. This is the other die in the set. It is rectangles, and it is also fun to play with. But I had used the circles for this one. And then here's an awesome way to use your scraps. So I took little scraps of designer series paper. This is all of the rainbow paper, the Free Celebration rainbow paper, and I just glued it to the back of this granny apple green cardstock that I had die cut and made a little pattern all over the place. And then I cut one of the circles with basic white cardstock to stamp my sentiment on, and it is popped up on dimensionals. So the gems on this card are clear rhinestones that I colored with my Bermuda Bay, dark Bermuda Bay Stampin' Blend. So, which is what the ink that I used here and that color. This sentiment is from the rainbow stamp set. So, excuse me. So there's the card that I made for Donna, and she's not even here to see it, but hopefully she'll watch the replay. Donna, if you're watching the replay, let me know that you saw your card. All righty. Let's see. One other thing that I was going to show you for tonight. The Amazing Silhouettes stamp set. And I'm showing you this really because I have it, because I don't have all of the stamps, but I do have this one, and we hadn't used it all week. I think I used a little bit of it in one card, but I thought I would just stamp some of these images. I was going to make some cards with it, but the day kind of got away from me. So I did stamp the butterfly. It's not really mounted on here because I'm not positive I want it. I stamped in Bermuda Bay, and that is Bermuda Bay cardstock, but I haven't decided whether I'm going to want that or a coordinating color as my background. So I haven't actually glued these down, and there is the leaf sprig. So just a little bit of upfront and personal on the stamping there, as opposed to just looking at a stamp set. So no cards yet, but those two will get completed at some point and will show up in a blog post, I am sure. So okie dokie, are we ready to do some crafting? So we needed regular card base, 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. And in my note, I said card base, 8.5 by 5.5, S at 4 1/4, which is how I write things when I'm just jotting down my quick notes. My S and my 5 could look the same, though. It wasn't a 5, it was an S, so it was score at 4 1/4. So hopefully everybody got that. Donna, hello. Did you see your card, Donna? We just finished showing this. Just jump back for a minute. Here is the card that I promised I would make for you this week, using the Picture This dies. And so I just cut the circle dies out of a piece of cardstock, and then I just put little scraps of the designer series paper from the rainbow package onto the back, glued it down, and then I popped up the sentiment with dimensionals. So that is a quick and easy way to use those dies, but bright and fun colors all around. So that was the one that I promised I would make to share with you, Donna. So, okay, regular card base. Thanks, Donna. piece of cardstock, 5 1/4 by 4. Piece of cardstock 2 inches square. 2 pieces of cardstock 1 1/2 inches square. Piece of basic white cardstock or vanilla, depending on your designer series paper and stuff. 1 3/4 inches square, and then 2 pieces of designer series paper 1 1/4 inches square. And then the one piece that I forgot was the sort of border strip that is 1/2 inch by 5 1/4. And I suggested that you could use cardstock, or you could use ribbon, or a die cut border, or border punch, or anything at all that you like. So, and I'm thinking I'm going to use this ribbon. So set that there. Okay, so let's get started. So we will just fold our card base and on the score line and give it a good crease with our bone folder. Okay, and then we're not going to attach anything to this just yet. We're going to build everything else onto this piece of cardstock, just for safety reasons, in case we have to redo anything. So your 2 small squares of designer series paper will get adhered to your 2 small squares of cardstock. This one's, it's not really tricky, because there's not a whole lot to it, but anyway, we'll craft together and have a little fun with that. So, okay. When you are finished with this stuff, maybe just give me a little bit of a done in the comments, so I know to move on. I don't want to get too far ahead on anybody. And if everybody is just watching and not crafting, let me know, and then I'll just make the card on my own. But I think at least some of you are crafting along with me. So there we go with that. I don't know that I asked for stamps and ink in the extras. Regular stuff, I put in tools, didn't I? I put in adhesive, and I don't think I told anybody to bring stamps and ink. You will need stamps and ink for the basic white, because that's really plain and boring. So, oh, Lorna, you're crafting. That's great. Don't know if you have any stamps and ink handy, but you will need at least one. It could be an image. It could be a sentiment. If things are small, it could be both. Whatever you like, but you will need some stamps or a stamp and a coordinating ink color. Okay. Jen is just watching because she's trying to clear off her craft table still. I know the feeling, Jen. I had to clear my craft tables because my sweet husband is working on renos in my craft studio, so I'm getting some walls and things. He's, building a little ledge along the one wall, and then he's putting up drywall and walls and all that sort of stuff. So I had to empty out the space. So yes, so I cleared off that table. However, I did set up a temporary table where I am here, and this week it has completely filled up. So after tonight, I need to clean up a bunch of things because I've had a lot of stuff out this week. So anyway, okay. Hopefully everybody is ready to move on. Oh, Donna is just watching as well. Okay, good. Well, I'm glad you're here watching. So I'm going to use the Wildflower Path stamp set for my stamping, but you can use whatever stamp you want and ink. So we are going to stamp on this, but you want your cardstock oriented in a diamond. Okay, so just keep that in mind as you are doing your stamping, especially if you're stamping words. Okay. And once you have your stamping done, you can adhere this to the third square of cardstock. Okay. Okay. Oh, for those of you in the GTA area, the last I heard, you didn't really have any snow, but I have to tell you, it has been snowing like crazy up here, and we have a lot of snow now because it's been cold. It's kind of real fluffy, poofy snow as well, so that's kind of nice. But it's supposed to be cold tomorrow. Hopefully not too cold, not too windy, because I have to work, and the wind is not fun when you're on the ski hills stuff. So, okay, how are we doing with that? Do we have our stamping done? Do we have our piece adhered? Might just be you and I, Lorna. I'm not sure. Ginny might be crafting with us. Not sure. She didn't say. I think everybody else is just watching. So anyway, okay. So once you have that done, you are going to adhere your 3 pieces to the cardstock, all in a diamond orientation. I'll tell you that, okay? The intent is, oh, yay, Ginny's making the card as well. Okay, so the intent is that they are all in the diamond orientation as opposed to square. But I suppose there's no reason you couldn't do them square. Maybe I will just tell you to adhere the 3 pieces to the piece of cardstock. Maybe I should pull mine away. Should I pull it away? We'll see in a moment where everybody put theirs. Okay, everybody go ahead and adhere them, and I will show you where I put mine in a moment. Just for a little crafting kind of sort of fun. Now you can absolutely include dimensionals in this step and put these, pop these up on your cardstock. Some people might have done that whether I suggested it or not, but I'm suggesting it. It's officially been suggested, and I am going to pop these up as well. So this is where there should be a little musical interlude while we do this crafting. But since I have no musical interlude set up, I'll just blather on. So, and I should, I suppose, thank the technology world for, oh yes, la la la. So that's supposed to be when you're not listening, Lorna. I'm thanking the technology world for cooperating with us, at least so far tonight. And hopefully it continues. I was, as I was trying to get set up, the computer was being really slow. It's like, oh my gosh, now I can't even get on. And then I had an echo at first because somehow the audio got connected on 2 devices. So I was getting feedback and echoing and stuff. It's like, oh, this stuff is out to drive me insane. And as my brother would say, well, it's a pretty short drive. But anyway, okay, gotta love your big brother, right? How are we doing here? I don't know, I feel like I'm a little slow moving here, but I'm getting there. Okay. What else can I tell you that's going on? Card class for January is coming up on January 26th. Normally, I start my card class at 7 p.m., the monthly card class. But I do believe that this month we will start it at 7:30, and that is because I realized the other night when we were talking about things that January 26th is my anniversary. And so we get talking about the night and all the rest of it, and what, you know, usually you would spend time with your spouse on your anniversary. And so Lorna suggested that I invite him to the card class, but apparently that's not going to fly. So, but we will. We have a prime rib roast in the freezer that we were planning to have for our anniversary, since since we're not going out to a restaurant. So anyway, I think that I will start the card class at 7:30 that night, and we don't usually use the full 2 hours anyway, so I think we'll be fine. So, okay, here's mine. I have now adhered those. Seemed a little slow there, but anyway, that's what I have done. How is everyone else doing with that? Do we have our pieces attached? Okay, I put a sentiment and an image on my little piece of cardstock there. So I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do on my ribbon. I'm going to put the ribbon on the bottom, and I think I might put some gems on it. So your ribbon or your die cuts or your cardstock or whatever it is that you have done in that 1/2 inch by 5 1/4, you can attach that now. And I have to bring this a little bit closer, or I will never get it on, certainly not straight. So I'll just bring this in and this on down here. That should work. And anytime you're putting ribbon onto a card or cardstock, it's always best if you wrap it around to the back. It just gives a nice clean edge at the end of your card. So there we go. And then once you have that all attached, you can put it onto your card base. Guess I need to make another post-it note that says stamps and ink. Don't be kind of standard for most of these nights. There will usually be at least some stamping involved. Here again. Oh my gosh, what have I done? What have I not done? Clearly this is not the right size. How big is that anyway? Look, it's 4 1/4. Okay. So we'll pause that for just a moment. I think it's this is where it gets into me reading the instructions wrong, right? 5 1/4. Okay, so it's just too wide. So I think I will take 1/8 of an inch off of both sides here. just a little tricky with all the stuff poking up on the top, but I think I can get it. There we go. Okay, should fit now. That's much better. All right. And then, of course, the final step is always embellish as desired. So, I don't know what embellishments you have that you might like to use. I'm thinking maybe some of these white matte dots on mine. I also have the faux sea glass that is white. I think I'll use the matte dots. So go ahead and embellish your card. I could add some of these brass butterflies too. Okay, let's start with the white dots. So I'm just going to put these onto the ribbon since I don't have a sentiment or anything to go on there. You can embellish as you wish, where you wish. Here we go. Okay, so there is my card. I think I like it just like that. I don't. Oh, I had also suggested that you could emboss this, which clearly I did not do here, but I do have some other samples to share. And I did emboss one of those. One more thing that I promised to show you this week. So there is my first card. My other samples, I used the oh my goodness. I used the designer series paper that we had this week, one of the ones that we used this week, which is right here, daffodil. There's just no daffodils showing on this piece, so I was confused about the name, but I'm sure it's this one. Yes, it is. Okay. So this is 2 pieces from the daffodil designer series paper that we looked at earlier this week. And this is the gingham embossing folder that I told you I would ink on one side just to see how it looked. And it does look more gingham with the 2 colors. So that's how that turned out. So this was Flirty Flamingo cardstock, and then I put Mary Merlot ink on there. My heart is smiling because of you. What a wonderful sentiment. That is also from the wildflower stamp set that I had just minutes ago. Too many things on my table here. There we go. The wildflower path, and the grass is from there as well. The grass is stamped with Pear Pizzazz, but I stamped it off because the first time I did it full strength, and I was thinking it was a little bit hard to see the sentiment, even though the sentiment is in Mary Merlot, which is quite a bit darker. And then it sort of sat on my desk, and I thought, well, maybe it's not, maybe it's okay. So this might go onto a card yet, but in the meantime, I had redone it with the stamped off image. So, and then it was after I made this card that I realized that I had, and I had always planned the ribbon for this one. But anyway, then I went ahead and made this one. And then I realized that I had not told you to cut that little strip of cardstock or ribbon or whatever. So I went back and added to my Facebook post. And I made this card and I actually put it on here this time. So here is the designer series paper that we made last night. And then I stamped these. This is one of these stems. Actually, it was this stem with, what did I end up using? I used this little flower to put on the ends of all the stems. So that's what I did on that one. And the happy birthday is also from this stamp set. So I put it right onto that border piece. And again, oh, iridescent rhinestones. There we go. Just realized I have no embellishments on this card. Ooh. Ah, thanks, Jen. Yes, this is Fresh Freesia and Pool Party. Kind of a different combination, but it's two of the colors that are in the Friendly Hello designer series paper that we played with last night. So kind of got me thinking along those lines. So, and then I decided to do one last card to show it as a landscape orientation as opposed to a portrait that all the others had been. So I made this one. So this is that amazing silhouette stamp that I showed you earlier, the leaf one, and then the polka dots and the little triangles. These are pieces of designer series paper from the Rainbow ESP, the free celebration one. And these clear rhinestones again are colored with the Bermuda Bay Stampin' Blend. So those are some additional samples from this layout that we played with tonight. So lots of cards, lots of different colors, lots of looks. Two of them do have that border piece, two of them do not. So it's not something that you have to have. It's, you know, again, this was a sketch, and sketches are there to, you know, inspire and to give you a starting point, a jumping off point. Or for me to use for, you know, craft along night or mystery stamping sometimes. So anyway, okay, I think looking around for things that I've forgotten, because the technology is still working, so we should probably do more stuff, right? But I I don't really have anything else for tonight. So no other crafting, but just a couple of other things I will mention to you. Look, here I am back again. My card class for January, the deadline to register for that is the 10th of the month. The 10th of the month is also the deadline to sign up for Paper Pumpkin if you are interested in that. And coming up middle of January is the deadline to register for our online global retreat, which we haven't talked about for a couple of nights, so I will just grab this one more time and I can put it out here, but you can't see it, can you? Okay, here we go, back down here. The online global retreat that is happening on February the 12th, for those of us in Canada or the United States. 3 demonstrators, one from the United States, one from Australia, and one from Canada, and we have gotten together and created a number of fun projects to share with you. There will be make and takes. Everybody will get the global retreat in a box shipped to your home, and it will have over $30 in new product from the new January to June mini catalog, and all the supplies that you need for the make and takes. And then we will craft together on a special Facebook group page that we will set up for people that have registered. You will have access to the videos after the event, so you can go back and watch again. And we will also send you tutorials for the make and takes and the pillow gifts and some of the other things that we make. So lots of inspiration, lots of ideas, lots of crafting, a chance to be together, and a chance to be part of something international. So this is really exciting and fun. I did send an email earlier today with more of the details for that. So if you haven't seen it yet, check your inbox. Hopefully it's there because I sent it. Okay, back to me. That is, I think, everything that I have for you tonight. I just want to say, what a fun week this has been. I was talking to another Jeannie Moss, fab stamper. We were chatting earlier today, and she said, you know, how has your week gone with all these live events and everything? And I said, you know what, it's been a lot of work, but what a lot of fun. I have had so much fun hanging out with everyone this week and sharing things from the new catalog and different projects and doing some crafting. And hopefully you've felt inspired and you've seen some things that you want to work on and or try. So don't forget to check out all of the things on my Facebook page. Oh, likes and loves. I love it. Thank you. Do check out my Facebook page because there are some posts up there for you to share some of your projects. I invited people to share a card with coloring. I invited people to share a card with the sketch that we did earlier in the week. I will post this card from the craft along and invite you to share a card that you've made from, I guess, from this layout. And then there's a couple questions in there about favorite stamp sets from the new catalog and celebration. Actually, I don't think I put the celebration one up yet. Have to do that. And then there is also an ordering special if you place an order by Sunday evening. Sunday evening is the end of my kickoff week. So it started on Monday, so it will end on Sunday. And if you place a minimum $60 order using the current host code that you can find on my website and was in the email that I sent earlier today as well. I think I sent 2 emails today. Look at that. But anyway, if you place a minimum $60 order and you use that host code, you will get a free celebration item from Stampin' Up. You will qualify to get my card class for free for January. And I will also send you a package of one of the brand new embellishments from the new catalog. And I will even let you choose which one. There's 4 or 5, I think, that I offered. And that information is in the email that I sent. So it's all there. But if you have any questions, absolutely reach out to me. And if you need help with your order, do let me know. I'd be happy to assist. This is a great time to get a prepaid subscription to Paper Pumpkin. If you are a Paper Pumpkin subscriber, think about buying a prepaid, because if you buy a prepaid, you get free celebration items. A 3-month prepaid subscription saves you a little bit of money over the month-to-month cost, and you get a free celebration product. So I always make sure to buy my Paper Pumpkin prepaid subscriptions during a celebration, because why not get something extra for free? It's all good. And I need to put my glasses on because there's comments rolling up here and I can't read them. I can kind of sort of read some of the words, but let me just see what people have had to say here. I really like them. Wow, that's a great deal. Yes, Mary, Paper Pumpkin prepaid. This is the time to do it because you can, you can kind of double dip. You get the fantastic Paper Pumpkin kits, and you can get free celebration items too. So why not? Stampin' Up's going to give it to us. Let's take it. Okay, I think that is everything for tonight. Thank you so much for being with me tonight and throughout the week. I've had a ton of fun. I hope you have enjoyed it. I don't know what I'm going to do all next week. What am I going to do in my evenings? Anyway, it's been great crafting with you. I hope you like some of the stuff from the new catalog. If you have any questions or anything you want to know about the new catalog, please do let me know. I'd love to help you out. So, no, my freebies for $60. Oh, great deal. Freebies for $60. Yes. Well, you know what? It's a generous kind of moment. What can I say? I just want to help people get their hands on some of the stuff from the new catalog, and I do appreciate your orders. So it's my way of saying thank you. So anyway, I think that's it for tonight. So enjoy the rest of your evening and have an awesome weekend, and we will be crafting together again really soon. Thanks so much, everyone. Bye for now.